Hi, this is Ananda, Peaceful Living in Chaotic Times. I want to share with you all how I live peacefully uh, in chaotic times. Okay? So, what are some things that we can do when we're faced with adversity? There's challenges around every corner. I always go back to the breath. Even in a crisis, if there's an emergency, you can take a moment to take a breath and just breathe in through the nose and exhale. And again, breathing in through the nose and exhale. And one more time. Let's breathe in if you settle in and drop in, you can receive information from your higher self, or what you might want to say is Great Spirit or God, right? It's that inner knowing. And then you can tap on your heart and ask yourself, what am I feeling in the presence of this? What am I feeling in the presence of this? Instead of taking a time out during the day, take a time in. And what that means is you're getting in touch with your inner knowing. Now remember, the way the indoctrination camps have raised us, they've raised us to be away from our heart and going up into our head, burning calories, wasting energy. And when we're up here, we're not connected with our emotional self. In fact, if this is running nonstop all the time, you've completely disconnected with your feeling ability, right? A way to get back is to go back to the breath, right? Tap on the heart. I hope whoever's watching this right now just needed a minute to take a beat and check in with themselves, right? Took I hope you are taking time to check in with yourself. When is the right time to check in with yourself? Right now. When is the right time to check in with yourself? Right now. It's always the right time to check in with yourself. And I don't care what's going on around you. You can be at the bank, you can be at the grocery store, you can be dealing with a child or dealing with yourself. You can be dealing with a jerk at the post office, or you can be dealing with a very kind, loving soul having a cup of tea. While you're doing this is called active meditation. While you're doing these things, you can enjoy checking in with yourself. What am I feeling in the presence of this? Remember, wherever you go is where you are. You cannot run from yourself. So no matter what your circumstance, see, in life, if we don't learn the lesson of the wisdom of our creation, we are bound to repeat it. The faces may change, even the circumstances might change. But when you dig down deep, the feelings that are coming up in association with the happening, those will remain the same. And that's a clue. God, why do I keep creating this in my life? God, why do I keep creating this in my life? What is it about this scenario or this circumstance or this happening or this emotion that I keep creating over and over and over again? God, what are you trying to tell me? Or what am I trying to tell myself? The key, the key is in yes. Yes, and it's the basis of good improvisation. Yes, and yes, and in drama, if you're doing improvisation and the character comes up, let's say the scene is, okay, I'm a girlfriend, I'm waiting for my boyfriend, he arrives late, and I've got something to say. So I'm improvising, and I say to the boyfriend, oh, you're late. You just missed the most amazing part of this meal at this restaurant. And then he replies, "Oh, babe, I'm so sorry. I got my shoelace caught in the door. It was the worst thing you could imagine." And I replied, "Don't worry. It's okay. I saved you some." And I start feeding him. And he says, "Oh, thank you, honey. This is so funny and so romantic. And thank you for not being mad at me." And I say, "Hey, no problem. Let's order dessert." And the scene continues because he's a yes and I'm a yes. And we're having fun, right? And I could be bitchy and upset, but as long as we're saying yes to whatever the scenario is that's presented, the scene's going to continue. So he could come in and I could say, "You're late. I'm so upset with you. I feel like you've disrespected my time. How can you be so rude?" And then he could say, "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. I got my shoelace caught in a door. It was the most ridiculous thing you could have ever imagined. I didn't mean to upset you, darling. I dropped my cell phone down a grate and I couldn't reach it. I'm literally without a cell phone right now, so I couldn't even tell you what was going on." "Oh, okay, honey. Now, what if I closed down to the scene instead of being a yes and letting the banter continue?" Let's say he says, "Honey, you wouldn't have believed it. And I dropped my cell phone down a grate. I couldn't even contact you to tell you what was going on." And I go, "Well, uh, no, well, I'm leaving. This is the last time. I told you I wouldn't be tolerating this rude behavior from you anymore." Now that ends the scene. That's a no. That's a stop, right? So the key is in yes. And guess who gives us a clue? Yeshua. 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 Yeshua ben Joseph, Jesus the Christ. His name literally gives us a clue. Yes. Yeshua. 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 Yes, and. Yes, and. So, what happens when I create a scenario that I don't like the outcome? I'm upset. I'm distraught. What do I do? Oh, I keep pulling in the same guy, same type of guy, and he's disrespecting me, right? What do? I breathe in disrespect. I am so disrespected. I'm so disrespected. I'm so disrespected. So, what happens when we do that? We become one with the emotion. We allow the breath to be the river that the emotion rides on, because you cannot think and feel at the same time. It is impossible. Now, if you're thinking emotion, that's intellectual emotion. That's not pure emotion. Pure emotion comes from the heart. So when you get connected with your heart and you're focused on the breath, you can allow the pure emotion of what that feels like to be disrespected. Rather than demanding respect, we cannot demand respect from another. We can earn respect. Just because we give someone respect doesn't mean they will respect us in return, right? But we can allow. When we have self-respect, that has to do with being in touch with our emotions. I respect myself. I respect all others. As I respect myself, I create the outside world. It's an outward projection of my soul. As I create self-respect, I respect myself. I create new scenarios and new circumstances of people coming into my life that are so respectful. But if I do not allow the other's disrespect of me, I am certain to create it again and again and again, Because if I yell at them and say, how dare you disrespect me? That's being a no to them. Or if I close down to that emotion and I say, this is not tolerable, this is unallowable, I cannot and will not allow that this man or woman is disrespecting me, or child or elder, right? Doesn't matter. Stranger or loved one. Doesn't matter. If you say, I cannot allow it, you're being a no to an emotion that exists inside of you. When you're a no to life, life is a no to you. So you can leave the area, right? And that could be an act of self-preservation, which is fine. But the inner work, I'm not saying to be a yes to everything. If somebody tells you to jump off a cliff, you don't go and do it, right? I mean, that's just stupid. You always have to use discernment. So if someone's offering you something and it's not good for your well-being, then use discernment. But you can still say yes to the emotion that exists connected to the happening. Yes, and, yes, and, yes, and. Yeshua, Yeshua. Yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I can. Yes, I will. This is how we evolve ourselves. We evolve ourselves into a higher vibrational frequency. We cannot demand it or force it. We allow it to become us. How do we allow something that we hate? One of the tricks that I use is the breath. Go back to the breath. And tap on the heart, getting back in touch with the heart. Because when you're in touch with the breath, let's say I'm focusing on the breath, in through the nose and breathing out. Eventually, my mind shuts off because I'm focused on the breath and not on the thoughts. The chitter chatter that never stops, right? But you can acknowledge it, observe it, be the watcher, watch the thoughts. But you don't have to be an effect of them. So you come into your God self, your God essence, which is living in the heart. Remember, the kingdom of heaven is within. The answers are within. The remedy is within. The solution to problems that have never existed before, the solutions, you can find them inside when you get in touch with the emotional aspect. What's going on? What am I feeling in the presence of this? As you continue to do this, the answers come to you. Even Einstein said his greatest answers came to him when he stopped thinking. So when you're focused on the breath, you stop thinking. When you purify through feeling feelings, allowing the breath to be the river that the emotion rides on, because you can't think and feel at the same time, right? It's impossible. But to feel, to deeply feel, is to getting real, is real. The kingdom of heaven is within. You get real with yourself. Go within. Be blessed. Feel the relief, a sigh of relief, because you took time to care for yourself. This is a path of self-love. It is a bit of a discipline, but you are worth it. I love you. Be blessed and celebrate your path called you.